The popular American singer Billy Joel sings a lyric in which he confesses that he would rather laugh with the sinner than cry with the saints. By contrast, the old New Orleans jazz favorite When the Saints Go Marching In insists that I wanna be among that number. These two popular songs indicate the two polar images of saints. On one hand, dreary, pinched, and lugubrious, mourners and haters of a good time, and on the other, the glorious end of human life. But some saints truly lived it up, and most of them had pretty spotty backgrounds. They reaffirm our Father's willingness to forgive and show us mercy after we change our ways. Starting with Saint Ignatius of Loyola. Ignatius of Loyola was a Spanish knight from the Basque noble family, hermit, priest since 1537, and a theologian who founded the Society of Jesus, aka the Jesuits, and was the first superior general. Saint Ignatius was an incredibly brilliant knight who fought in many battles without any injuries, until one fateful day. On May 20th, 1521, a cannonball wounded one of his legs and broke the other. Unperturbed, he got up and hobbled back to the castle. He needed surgery, which was undertaken without anesthesia. A treatment that most modern folk would balk at. You've been warned. To understand St. Ignatius' prowess, part of his leg bone had to be cut off, and the operation was generally a disaster. But despite the fact that he ended up with one leg shorter than the other, which led to doctors to put weights on his leg to stretch it back out, he survived and went on to found one of the most famous religious orders in the world, inspired by the religious texts he read while recovering from the cannonball. Ouch. No one partied harder than Saint Vladimir of Kiev, before his conversion, of course. This one had hundreds of concubines, multiple wives from all around the world, so many children that everybody lost count, and an army of pagans? Well, Saint Vladimir of Kiev did. Vladimir was a Grand Prince of Kiev who, spoiler alert, converted to Christianity in 988, but before his conversion, he was a pretty, not to mention, profligate guy. From the start of his reign in 980, he conquered land, slaughtered people, had children, and generally partied hard. On a few occasions, he, being a good pagan, took part in human sacrifices. In 983, after another of his military successes, Prince Vladimir and his army thought it necessary to sacrifice human lives to the gods. A lot was cast, and it fell on a youth, Ian by the name, the son of a Christian Fyodor. His father stood firmly against his son being sacrificed to the idols. More than that, he tried to show the pagans the futility of their faith. Your gods are just plain wood, he declared. It is here now, but it may rot into oblivion tomorrow. Your gods neither eat, nor drink, nor talk, and are made by human hand from wood. Whereas there is only one God. He is worshipped by Greeks, and he's created heaven and earth. And your gods? They have created nothing, for they have been created themselves. Never will I give my son to the devils. Interestingly, it was the speech which caused Vladimir to ponder over the next few years as to whether he ought to convert to Christianity, which he ultimately did. He ruled so kindly after his conversion that he became known as Vladimir the Great, a far cry from the previous life. This entry is number one on my list for this saint not only just being savage, but she simply slayed. Saint Katera had some downright weird circumstances in her life, but Saint Katera was one of the 9 sisters, all born at the same time. The 9 girls' mother was a lady of high rank, and she was disgusted that she had given birth to 9 children like a common animal, and even more so that she had 9 daughters and no son, as one assumed sons were far more valuable. In a fit of rage, she demanded that her nurse take the babies and drown them in the river. The nurse couldn't do that, so she took them to a remote village where the girls grew up together. Then things kind of got a little bit weird. They formed a non-tuplet warrior gang. The girls were all good Christians, and their gang was formed to travel around breaking Christians out of jail. They spent a number of years in this task and smashing Roman idols, until they were caught and returned back to their father, who recognized them. Don't suppose how that happened. He told them all to marry good Roman pagans, but they refused and broke out of jail anyway. Then the real stuff began. They waged a guerrilla war against the Roman Empire. Eventually, the girls were all killed or died. Quitera was beheaded, and along with Quitera, 2 of her sisters, Marina and Liberata, were made saints. I mean, that was all something, right? Well, that's all we have for you today on Take 5. Do not forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit that bell icon for weekly notifications. Until next time, bye!